The quantum radar's alarm pierced the silence of Deep Space Research Station Omega. Dr. Elena Rodriguez dropped her coffee mug, watching in horror as thousands of unknown signatures materialized just beyond Saturn's rings. 17 years of searching for extraterrestrial life, and now they'd found it, or rather, it had found them. All personnel, this is not a drill, her voice remained steady despite her racing heart. Initiating Protocol Midnight. The research station's transmission arrays hummed to life, broadcasting their first contact protocols on all frequencies. They'd rehearsed this moment countless times, but reality proved far more terrifying than any simulation. The alien vessels approached with geometric precision, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent sheen that defied human engineering. Dr. Rodriguez counted 37 ships, each larger than anything humanity had ever constructed. The lead vessel's response came not through conventional radio waves but via quantum entanglement, a technology humanity had barely begun to theorize about. Human settlement, the translation matrix struggled with the alien language. Your species has been deemed insufficiently evolved for contact. Your military development exceeds your diplomatic capability. Prepare for quarantine. In lunar orbit, Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the HMS Vigilant, humanity's closest guarded secret and first true warship. For 15 years, the United Earth Defense Force had constructed this vessel in plain sight, disguising it as a series of separate space stations. Now, as she watched the alien fleet's approach on her tactical display, Chen understood why her superiors had insisted on such secrecy. Engineering, status report, Chen's command cut through the tension. Quantum shields at full capacity, Captain, Chief Engineer Patel's voice carried the excitement of someone about to test a lifetime's work. The aliens won't be expecting this. The Vigilant represented humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel that combined traditional human ingenuity with theoretical physics that most thought impossible. Its quantum shields, derived from studying deep-sea creatures' bioluminescence, could absorb and redirect energy in ways that defied conventional physics. The ship's hull, inspired by stealth aircraft and submarine technology, incorporated materials that could adapt to different forms of detection. Message from Fleet Command, Lieutenant Santos reported. We are authorized to engage if the aliens attempt forced quarantine. Chen studied the alien formation. Despite their advanced technology, their ships moved with a rigidity that suggested inexperience in actual combat. Their perfect formations might look impressive, but they left predictable gaps that someone who'd studied Earth's naval warfare history could exploit. Attention all hands, Chen's voice reached every compartment of the massive ship. For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Today, we've learned we're not, and our first visitors want to cage us. They've studied our wars but missed their most important lesson: humans fight hardest when cornered. The alien fleet's commander, a being that called itself High Observer Ixil, transmitted another message: your primitive vessel's presence is noted. Power down and accept quarantine, or face immediate neutralization. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Mr. Santos, please respond with Protocol Echo 7. The lieutenant's fingers danced across his console, transmitting data packets that appeared to be surrender protocols. In reality, they contained precisely calibrated quantum noise, a signature that would temporarily blind the aliens' sophisticated sensors. All stations, Chen commanded, execute Operation Poseidon's Wake. The Vigilance engines ignited, but instead of retreating, the ship dove straight toward Saturn's rings. The maneuver appeared suicidal to the alien fleet, their sensors showing the human vessel would be torn apart by the ice and rock. What they couldn't detect was the Vigilant's quantum shield forming microscopic wormholes, redirecting debris around the ship while collecting it for ammunition. They're pursuing, Captain, Tactical reported. 32 ships in formation, 5 maintaining distance. Perfect, Chen nodded. They're following the textbook response to an inferior force. Activate gravitational lenses. The Vigilant disappeared from conventional sensors, using gathered ice particles to bend light in sensor waves around its hull. The alien fleet's perfect formation faltered as they lost track of their quarry. Their confusion was about to get worse. "Launch magnetic mines, pattern Delta," Chen ordered. "Let's show them why studying Earth's wars wasn't enough. They needed to study Earth's warriors." The space around the alien ships erupted in a carefully choreographed dance of explosions. Each detonation created a localized magnetic pulse that played havoc with their advanced systems. The aliens' rigid formation broke apart as ships tried to avoid the chaos, their crews experiencing something they'd never trained for: combat chaos. From within Saturn's rings, the Vigilant emerged like a ghost ship from ancient maritime legends. Its main guns, loaded with hyper-accelerated ice particles from the rings, opened fire. The aliens' energy shields, designed to stop plasma and energy weapons, proved surprisingly vulnerable to kinetic impacts at relativistic speeds. 3 enemy vessels disabled, Tactical reported with barely contained excitement. Their shields aren't configured for physical impacts. Chen watched as the alien fleet scrambled to adapt. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology," she transmitted to the alien commander. "It's our ability to turn anything into a weapon, even ice and rocks. Consider this a lesson in human innovation." The battle for humanity's free access to space had begun, and the aliens were learning their first harsh lesson: studying Earth's wars through observation was very different from experiencing human combat creativity firsthand. News of the Vigilant's victory spread through the alien hegemony's communication networks like a virus. High Observer Ixil faced the Grand Council, his crystalline skin dulled with shame. The chamber's vast holographic displays showed the battle from multiple angles, each perspective more humiliating than the last. "You claim these humans," the council leader's voice resonated through the chamber, "defeated our most advanced ships with frozen water. It's not just the weapons, Exalted One," Ixil's voice trembled. "Their tactics, they're impossible to predict. They fight like their planet's apex predators, adapting mid-battle, using the environment itself as a weapon." In the debris field that was once their perfect formation, human salvage teams made another discovery that sent shockwaves through the hegemony. The Vigilant had deployed quantum-entangled probes throughout the battlefield, gathering tactical data while simultaneously broadcasting the entire battle to Earth. Humanity hadn't just fought their first space battle, they'd turned it into a live training exercise. Back aboard the Vigilant, Captain Chen watched her crew integrate alien technology from the disabled vessels with remarkable speed. Chief Engineer Patel had already reverse-engineered 3 different alien systems, finding ways to merge them with human innovation. "Captain," Patel's excitement was palpable as she presented her findings, "their quantum drives are incredibly advanced, but they're using them inefficiently. They're so focused on raw power that they've missed dozens of potential applications." Chen studied the holographic diagrams. "Show me." "Their ships use quantum fields for propulsion and shields separately," Patel explained. "But look what happens when we apply fluid dynamics principles from Earth's oceans." The diagram shifted, showing energy flowing like ocean currents. "We can create quantum eddies, hidden pockets of spacetime that could hide entire battle groups." Before Chen could respond, the tactical alert blared. Lieutenant Santos's hands flew across his console. "Multiple contacts, Captain. The hegemonies sent their primary battle fleet. 300 ships, including 5 dreadnoughts." Chen studied the tactical display, noting the enemy fleet's approach vector. They'd learned from their first encounter, spreading out to prevent another ambush. But their formation still betrayed their inexperience, they were thinking in 2 dimensions, not 3. "All hands, battle stations," Chen ordered. "Engineer Patel, implement your quantum eddy modifications. Tactical, prepare the new gravitational mines. Let's show them humanity's second lesson: we learn faster than they do." The hegemony fleet approached with overwhelming force, their ships arranged in a massive sphere designed to prevent any escape. Their commander, Grand Admiral Zexo, transmitted on all frequencies. "Human vessel, your previous victory was impressive but ultimately meaningless. Surrender now, and we will ensure your species' survival under proper guidance. Chen's response was unexpected. She ordered a full power down of the vigilance systems, making the ship appear dead in space. The alien fleet moved closer, their sensors probing the apparently helpless vessel. Now, Chen commanded. The quantum eddies Patel had created burst into existence. Space itself seemed to fold around the vigilant, creating dozens of mirror images. Each reflection was actually a small pocket of warped spacetime, containing prepositioned weapons and drones. Launch Operation Hydra, Chen ordered. From each quantum eddy, salvaged alien weapons combined with human ingenuity emerged. Magnetic accelerators fired chunks of refined Saturn ice, now enhanced with quantum resonators that could penetrate alien shields. Gravitational mines created localized time distortions, causing alien targeting systems to fire at where human ships would be, rather than where they were. The hegemony fleet's perfect sphere broke apart as ships tried to target the real vigilant among its quantum reflections. Their advanced AI systems, programmed for conventional space warfare, struggled to adapt to humanity's unconventional approach. They're launching fighters, Santos reported. Thousands of them. Perfect, Chen smiled. Deploy the Charybdis protocol. The quantum eddies began to rotate, creating a massive vortex in space. The alien fighters, unable to compensate for the gravitational distortions, were pulled into a spiral. Not enough to destroy them, but enough to cluster them together, making them perfect targets for the Vigilance point defense systems. Grand Admiral Zexol watched in horror as his fighter squadrons were systematically disabled. The humans weren't just fighting with superior tactics, they were using fundamental forces of the universe in ways the hegemony had never considered. Their understanding of quantum mechanics is primitive, Zexol reported to the Grand Council. But they're using that limitation as an advantage. They're not bound by our established theories and doctrines. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was becoming clear. The hegemony's superior numbers meant nothing against an enemy that could turn space itself into a weapon. When the Vigilant finally emerged from its quantum sanctuary, it had disabled or scattered nearly half the alien fleet without suffering significant damage. Message to Grand Admiral Zexol, Chen's voice was calm but firm. Humanity's second lesson: technology is only as effective as the creativity behind it. Would you like to continue your education, or shall we discuss terms? The hegemony fleet retreated, leaving behind more disabled ships for humanity to study. But they had learned something vital: humans didn't just adapt to new technology, they reimagined its very foundations. The species they had dismissed as primitive was teaching them that true advancement comes not from having better tools, but from having the imagination to use them in ways no one else had considered. The Grand Council's emergency session stretched into its third day. Holographic displays showed the latest intelligence. Humans weren't just studying captured hegemony technology, they were improving it. Worse, other alien species had begun requesting human technical advisors, fascinated by their unconventional approaches. Their latest modification is disturbing, scientific overseer Valtak reported, his tentacles writhing with agitation. They've adapted our quantum communications array to mimic something they call thunder. In the depths of space near Jupiter's orbit, Captain Chen stood on the Vigilance observation deck, watching the massive gas giant storms. Lieutenant Santos joined her, carrying fresh sensor data from their latest modifications. The storm analysis is complete, Captain, Santos reported. Engineer Patel says we can replicate Jupiter's electromagnetic patterns using the modified alien tech. Chen nodded, studying the massive cyclones below. Billions of years of chaos mathematics at work. Nature's already solved problems we're just beginning to understand. She turned to her tactical officer. How are the new recruits adapting to the captured hegemony interfaces? Better than expected, Santos grinned. Turns out all those years of video games gave them an edge. They're thinking in ways the aliens never considered. The tactical alert interrupted their conversation. Multiple signatures detected, the sensor officer announced. It's the Hegemony's Special Operations Fleet. 500 vessels, including their new stealth ships. Chen's expression remained calm. They're learning. Deploy weather buoys and initiate Operation Storm Front. The Vigilant's newly installed quantum resonators hummed to life. Based on Jupiter's complex storm patterns, they began creating artificial gravitational eddies in space, not for combat this time, but for something more subtle. Hegemony vessels, Chen broadcasted, we notice you're using stealth technology. Allow us to demonstrate humanity's approach to hiding in plain sight. The quantum resonators synchronized, generating a cascade of electromagnetic disturbances that mimicked Jupiter's storm bands. In space, the effect was spectacular, and terrifying. The Vigilant seemed to dissolve into a maze of swirling energy patterns, each one moving with the mathematical precision of a natural storm. They're attempting to scan us, Santos reported, but the storm patterns are overwhelming their sensors. They're getting echoes of hundreds of possible locations. Now for the thunder, Chen ordered. The modified quantum communications array activated, sending pulses of energy through the artificial storm. In the vacuum of space, there was no sound, but the energy pulses resonated with the quantum fields of the alien ship's hulls, creating vibrations that their crews could feel in their bones. The psychological effect was immediate. The Hegemony crews, used to the silence of space, found themselves in an environment that behaved like a planetary storm system. Their stealth ships, designed to operate in normal space conditions, struggled to maintain coherent sensor readings. Their formation is breaking down, Santos announced. Several ships are reporting system malfunctions, the storm harmonics are interfering with their quantum field generators. Chen activated the ship-wide comm, all hands, prepare for Operation Lightning Strike. The Vigilant began moving through its artificial storm system, using the gravitational eddies like a terrestrial ship using ocean currents. Each time the alien fleet thought they had a fix on its position, they found only another storm cell. They're clustering their ships, Santos observed. Trying to combine their sensor power to cut through our interference. Exactly as expected, Chen smiled. Deploy the Poseidon probes. Dozens of small drones, their design inspired by deep-sea bioluminescent creatures, emerged from the Vigilant's launch bays. In the chaos of the artificial storm, they were nearly invisible, each one carrying a modified version of the Hegemony's own quantum field technology. The alien fleet never saw the real attack coming. The probes attached themselves to key ships, their quantum fields synchronized with the storm harmonics. When activated, they didn't damage the ships, instead, they created localized bubbles of chaotic spacetime, making it impossible for the affected vessels to maintain formation or coordinate with each other. Message from the Hegemony flagship, Santos reported. They're requesting a temporary ceasefire to discuss the implications of atmospheric warfare in space. Chen's response was broadcast across all frequencies. Lesson 3, True warfare isn't about destroying your enemy's ships. It's about destroying their certainty. The Hegemony fleet retreated once again, but this time was different. Their crews returned with stories not just of superior tactics or technology, but of humans turning the fundamental principles of space itself into psychological weapons. They had expected to fight a primitive species, instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that turned their greatest advantage, their advanced technology, into a source of terror. As the artificial storm dissipated, Chen received a priority message from Earth Command. Other alien species had been watching, and they were impressed. The Hegemony's monopoly on advanced technology was breaking down, not through force, but through humanity's unique ability to reimagine its applications. Send word to Earth Command, Chen ordered. Tell them we're ready to begin Operation Deep Current. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just learning to use their technology, we're rewriting the rules of how it can be used. The war for humanity's place in the galaxy had entered a new phase. The hegemony was learning that superior technology meant nothing against a species that could turn the vast emptiness of space itself into a weapon of psychological warfare. The hegemony's strategic command center buzzed with unusual activity. On their primary display, intelligence officers watched recordings of human cargo ships performing what should have been impossible, using modified food preservation systems as temporary quantum shields. A merchant vessel had escaped 3 military cruisers by recycling its waste heat into a makeshift propulsion system. "They're not just adapting our military technology," Fleet Admiral Venare observed, her crystalline form clouding with concern. "They're finding military applications in civilian equipment. Every human ship, no matter its purpose, is a potential combat vessel." Meanwhile, the Vigilant was docked at Titan Station, its hull surrounded by construction drones. Captain Chen watched through the observation window as Engineer Patel supervised the installation of their latest innovation, a system that used the principles of Earth's ocean currents to create invisible highways through space. "The test results are promising," Patel reported, her holographic display showing ships riding quantum currents between planets. "We can reduce travel time by 40% while using 60% less energy." The hegemony's own trade ships are already requesting access to the technology. "And the military applications?" Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. "That's the beautiful part," Patel grinned. "The same principles that make it efficient for trade make it perfect for tactical movement. We can create temporary currents for our combat ships, paths that disappear as soon as they're used." The tactical alert interrupted their discussion. Lieutenant Santos's voice carried an unusual note of excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. We're picking up quantum communications from across the galaxy. The smaller species they're revolting against hegemony trade restrictions." The main display showed dozens of star systems where previously subjugated species were demanding access to human technology and training. The hegemony's careful balance of power, maintained through technological superiority, was unraveling. "Incoming transmission from the Delphian Confederation," Santos reported. "They're offering us their abandoned deep space shipyards in exchange for technical advisors." Chen studied the tactical implications. The Delphians, an aquatic species, had been among the first to recognize the potential of humanity's ocean-inspired space combat tactics. Their shipyards, built inside hollow asteroids, were perfectly suited for human adaptation. "Multiple hegemony battle groups detected," Tactical announced. "They're moving to blockade the rebel systems." "Looks like they're forcing our hand," Chen observed. "All hands, prepare for Operation Undertow." The Vigilant's new systems hummed to life, creating a complex network of quantum currents throughout the local space. But this time, they weren't just for transportation. Each current carried specific electromagnetic signatures, creating a three-dimensional maze of invisible forces. "Launch the Nautilus drones," Chen ordered. Inspired by Earth's sea life, the automated drones dove into the quantum currents, their biological-inspired AI systems navigating the complex flows with natural ease. Each drone carried a piece of humanity's latest innovation, technology that could turn the hegemony's own quantum communication network against them. The alien blockade never saw the real threat coming. Their ships, positioned to intercept conventional military attacks, found their secure networks flooded with data from Earth's public archives. Art, music, literature, and most devastatingly, uncensored historical records of how smaller nations had successfully resisted larger powers throughout human history. "They're trying to shut down their quantum receivers," Santos reported, "but our signal is propagating through their own network. Every ship that connects to their command system gets infected with our data packet." Chen watched as the blockade formations began to waver. Some ships, their crews exposed to ideas of resistance and innovation for the first time, began breaking formation. Others, struggling to maintain communications without their quantum network, found themselves isolated and confused. "Message from Earth Command," Santos announced. "The Delphian shipyards are secure. Their engineers are already working with our teams to integrate aquatic-inspired designs into their next generation of ships. But the real victory wasn't military. Across the galaxy, species that had lived under hegemony control for centuries were learning that technology alone didn't determine destiny. Human history became a manual for resistance, teaching lessons paid for in blood and triumph over millennia of terrestrial conflicts. The Hegemony Council is requesting an emergency conference, Santos reported. They're offering to recognize Earth as an independent power if we'll help contain the spreading rebellion. Chen's response was broadcast on all frequencies, in all languages. Humanity doesn't want to replace one empire with another. We're offering something more valuable than control, we're offering innovation. The galaxy's species don't need a master, they need teachers who understand that the best technology is the one that sets you free. The hegemony's perfect order was dissolving, not through military defeat, but through the spread of human ideas. Their technology, once a tool of control, was being transformed into a means of liberation by species learning to think like humans, creatively, adaptively, and without artificial limits. The Galactic Assembly Hall, once the exclusive domain of the Hegemony Council, now hosted representatives from dozens of species. At its center, Captain Chen stood beside the newly installed Innovation Exchange, a massive quantum database filled with human patents, freely available to all species who agreed to share their own advances. The Hegemony's former council leader, now serving as just one voice among many, watched with a mixture of resignation and wonder as an Arthosian engineer demonstrated a new propulsion system. It combined hegemony quantum technology with human submarine principles and Arthosian crystalline computing. We fought so long to maintain technological superiority, he mused to Chen. We never considered that sharing knowledge could create even greater advances. The Vigilant, docked at the assembly station, had undergone its own transformation. Its hull now bore the marks of collaboration, sections rebuilt with Delphian metamaterials, sensor arrays enhanced by Arthosian crystals, and shield generators that incorporated principles from a dozen different species technologies. Captain, Engineer Patel called through the quantum comm, "You need to see this. The combined research teams have made a breakthrough." In the station's primary research lab, scientists from 15 different species gathered around a holographic display. They had achieved what the hegemony had deemed impossible, stable quantum tunnels that could transport ships across vast distances without the energy costs of traditional FTL travel. "We based it on Earth's natural wormholes," a Delphian scientist explained, her tentacles gesturing excitedly. "Your species' understanding of extreme ocean pressures helped us solve the containment issues. But humanity's greatest contribution wasn't technological. Earth's history became required study at the newly established Galactic Defense Academy. Species that had never known war learned from humanity's long experience, not just tactics and strategy, but the more crucial lessons of when not to fight, how to turn enemies into allies, and the importance of maintaining individuality even in unity." Multiple contacts approaching, Santos reported from the Vigilance Bridge. "It's the hegemony's former elite guard, and they're requesting permission to land." The elite guard's arrival marked a symbolic moment. These ships, once the embodiment of hegemony power, now came as students. Their crews had realized that rigid adherence to technological superiority had left them vulnerable to creative adaptation. In the assembly hall, Chen activated the central display, showing real-time data from across known space. Trade routes pulsed with activity, following the quantum currents humanity had taught others to create. Research stations blazed with the combined efforts of multiple species working together. And most significantly, the former hegemony worlds were transforming from isolated bastions of power into vibrant centers of cultural and technological exchange. "We've received the first graduates' projects from the Academy," Patel reported. "Sir, you should see what they've created." The display shifted to show vessels that defied conventional classification. Ships that combined the best aspects of multiple species technology with innovations that would have been impossible for any one race to develop alone. The rigid standardization of the hegemony era had given way to a flourishing of diverse approaches to space travel and defense. Message from Earth Command, Santos announced. The last of the hegemony holdout worlds has requested membership in the exchange. They're offering their complete technological database as a gesture of good faith. Chen stood at the assembly hall's podium, addressing representatives from across the galaxy. When humanity reached for the stars, we didn't just bring our technology. We brought our history, thousands of years of learning that true strength comes not from domination, but from adaptation. Not from controlling knowledge, but from sharing it. The former council leader approached her after the session. We thought we were containing a primitive species, he admitted. Instead, you taught us that age does not equal wisdom, and that true advancement comes from embracing change rather than fearing it. The Vigilant's next mission would be different from its first. Instead of defending humanity from alien aggression, it would lead a combined fleet of ships from 20 different species on a mission of exploration beyond known space. Each vessel carried technology and crews that represented the best of what multiple civilizations could achieve together. Ready to head out, Captain? Santos asked as Chen returned to the bridge. She looked at her crew, now including members from 5 different species, each bringing their own unique perspectives and abilities. Send word to the fleet, she ordered. Tell them humanity's final lesson: the universe is too vast for any one species to explore alone. True strength lies not in standing above others, but in lifting everyone up together. As the combined fleet prepared to depart, the quantum communication network carried a message to every world and ship in known space. From Earth, we brought not just technology, but hope. Not just innovation, but imagination. And most importantly, we brought the understanding that the greatest adventures await those who dare to share their dreams with others. The stars beckoned, not just to humanity now, but to a galaxy that had learned to dream like humans while thinking with the combined wisdom of 1,000 worlds.